Playing cards, otherwise and more specifically known as French-suited playing cards, are incredibly widespread and have been around, in their current form, since around 1480, according to Wikipedia. Tabletop role-playing games, on the other hand, have been around for a little over half a century. Dice are integral to most popular TTRPGs, with Dungeons & Dragons using an array ranging from the D4 to the D100, and even popular alternatives such as Blades in the Dark or Powered by the Apocalypse games make use of dice as their primary mechanic. Both of these focus on D6s. Dice are significantly older than playing cards, so this isn't as much of a surprise as it might appear. According to Wikipedia, dice in one form or another predate recorded history. You could say they have a slight head start on playing cards. Both dice and playing cards have seen widespread use in gambling, where in recent years cards have largely supplanted dice as the tool of choice, with games like poker and blackjack becoming staples of the industry, while dice games like craps fell out of favour. There's good reason for it. Dice normally only contain a number on each face, while each playing card has upwards of 4 pieces of information on every card dealt. The variety of potential games played with cards is therefore much larger. I've regularly heard, perhaps truthfully, perhaps not, that there are more ways to shuffle a deck of cards than there are stars in the galaxy. So why so few playing card-based tabletop games? The short answer? I have no idea, but that doesn't mean I can't make a few guesses. There are multiple angles to consider. Dice is a tangible thing, convenience, and familiarity. The phrases dice goblin or dice dragon get thrown around a lot in tabletop spaces, and for good reason. Plenty of players hoard dice because they're satisfying and useful to collect. I confess I'm a little biased, with my dice collection growing at an alarming rate. They're pretty, tactile, and hard wearing. Playing cards can be beautiful, with plenty of amazing looking decks available. What they tend not to be, however, is hard wearing. Anyone who has regularly used a deck of cards for an extended period of time will tell you how it becomes harder to shuffle, how corners get bent, how they stain. Cards lose the battle as a usable collectible because they wear out. Dice are also more convenient. There's no danger of a missing component ruining a game, while a deck of cards missing just one card might not be noticed until it ruins a game. Just throwing a deck into a bag to head somewhere is more risky than doing the same with dice. If a water bottle in the bag leaks, they're ruined. If it rains, they're ruined. They're far less pick up and go than dice are. You have to make sure they're usable. The last reason I came up with is simple. TTRPGs typically use dice because they almost always have. The first tabletop games were derived from wargaming, where dice is prevalent, and tabletop adopted the same convention. People don't like change, and this is a good example. This isn't to say they're not used. In researching this video, I came across a host of TTRPGs that use cards in some way, either as a primary game mechanic or in a core aspect of the game. It's just that games using dice still vastly outnumber games using cards. So this video is a spotlight on playing cards in the hope that more people make games using them. We've talked about why cards lose to dice, but we've barely touched on what makes playing cards so great. Everyone has them. Someone new to TTRPGs probably doesn't own a full set of polyhedral dice, which games like D&D call for. They likely do have a few D6s from board games and a deck of playing cards. This makes games that use playing cards incredibly accessible in a way that more well-known games like Pathfinder and D&D simply aren't. Solo TTRPGs take this idea and run with it. Of all the TTRPGs I found that use playing cards, the majority I encountered were solo games, which makes sense. Solo games can't have a game master, so the amount of information included on each card allows for varied and interesting lookup tables. Exquisite Biome, which I played recently, is a solo game about creating strange creatures using a deck of cards. Many oracles, ways of playing normally multiplayer TTRPGs single player, make use of playing cards for the same reason. Multiplayer TTRPGs using playing cards also exist. Deadlands, based on the Savage Worlds system, which I watched a fantastic actual play of recently, see the card, uses playing cards for its initiative system, and The Quiet Year, a very interesting game about creating a map of a post-apocalyptic settlement, uses a deck of cards. Even D&D does use cards, though it uses them so infrequently many might not know. Curse of Strahd begins with the prediction dictated by a deck of playing cards, and the infamous deck of many things is drawn from a subset of a standard deck. It's possible the recent release of the Deck of Many Things book has added more uses, but I haven't had a chance to read it yet. There are a few more games I came across in researching this video I want to draw attention to. This Ship Is No Mother is a forged-in-the-dark horror game, meaning it is descended in playstyle from the well-known heist simulator Blades in the Dark, that replaces the typical D6s with playing cards, which players run out of as play progresses, leading to a climax of tension. Meanwhile, Unbound is a game in which the players directly work with the Game Master to build the setting, and focuses on shorter, arc-driven gameplay of only 5 sessions. Lastly, Castle Falkenstein uses a deck of playing cards to supplement its skill system, in a setting the game describes as a place where the forces of wizardry and magic meet the gaslit streets of the Victorian age. I did, of course, come across a host of other systems in my research, and I've included a document in the Google Drive link with links to those I found. Talking of, what else is in that link? As you probably know by now, I provide a free supplement with every video I make, and this one is no different. I love playing cards and I think they're underused, so I've provided a couple of ways to bring them to your games, regardless of system. Tell the fortune of a character with playing cards, or quickly generate an NPC by drawing from the deck. I've also given some rules to allow you to bring card games to your game in a way that won't disrupt the flow, designed to be quick, simple to play and understand, and, most importantly, use dice. I've given rules for something akin to poker and a game that's very nearly blackjack, as well as one completely of my own invention designed to test tactics. I've also provided links to other dice games you might want to include. But Daniel, I hear you say, you've been gone 2 months and somehow you've had less scope creep on this project than on some you completed in a single month. I hear you. No, there has been no less scope creep than normal. It's just not on the free document. Introducing Summit. Summit is my very first foray into solo TTRPG design, and is my first completely original published TTRPG. The system is entirely my own, using a deck of playing cards to climb a mountain and discover a character. Along the way, you meet some of the people in their life, past and present, and battle against setbacks to make it to the top, to reach the summit. It's available now, both on itch.io and DriveThruRPG. I'm so excited to see people's reactions, to hear about the different journeys people take, discovering different characters. If you wanted it to be, you could even use it as a character building tool for another TTRPG. As ever, if you want to throw me some money, you can get the free document for pay what you want on both sides. I've also uploaded all my previous documents onto DriveThruRPG as well, if you prefer it to itch. Standard YouTube things apply, as always, so if you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please like the video. Thanks are also in order. Between this video and the last, the channel hit 100 subscribers. Thanks for the support. Final 2 things before the end of the video. I now have a Patreon active if you want a different way to support me. There's no tiers yet, though I have ideas for what I would do, but if you want a consistent way to throw me a little money, that would be much appreciated. Finally, I've been using the community posts feature to promote a video from a different TTRPG creator every week for the past month or so, and I plan to keep that up. If you like my videos, you'll probably be interested in those too. Thanks for watching!